Hello and welcome. I'm Raghav and today we are going to learn how to find element locators in Protractor, and this is going to be very easy and very interesting, and I will go from scratch step by step, so do not worry if you have no prior knowledge on this topic. So we are going to see how to find elements on web page for Angular applications, type of locators in Protractor, locator strategies. I will also show you a very quick demo and tips and tricks. So in our automation, finding elements on web page and taking action on them is one of the most important processes that we do in automation testing. Now in Protractor there are some functions and there are two global functions. So Protractor exposes two global functions and these are element and the other one is element.all. Now what is the difference here? Here the element function, it finds a single element, and then the element.all function finds multiple elements. So these are the two global functions exposed by Protractor that can used to locate elements on the web page. And because Protractor is a wrapper over WebDriver.js, so you can use all the functions of WebDriver.js as well as of Protractor. Now if I go to any demo application, I will go to Protractor demo application on Google, and here we have this super calculator. This is a demo application and this is an Angular application. If I use any extensions to check the technology stack, you can see this is Angular. This is what runs a Chrome extension that can check the technology stack, and also if I use this Webalizer, it shows this is Angular. JavaScript framework is AngularJS 1.3.0. So here if you go to this application, and or you can go to any Angular application and do a right click on the element. So all these objects, whether it's a text box, a drop down, a button, a link, all these are elements or objects. If you do a right click and say inspect, you will find this DOM, that is document object model, and here you can see all the properties for this particular element. So you can see we have ng model. This is again a Angular specific property. Then we have type, class, and so on. Now using this we can locate or identify this particular text box. And if I go to my Visual Studio Code, we have seen this in the last session when we created our first Protractor test that was on this calculator application. You can see here we use this sentence to find the element. So basically the syntax here is we say element and in brackets we use by. Now by is again used to find the locators by the properties. Now because for this particular element we have the ng model property available, so I will say by dot model and then whatever is the value for ng model. So if I see here, you can see it is, the value is first. So I will say here in quotes, you can use a single quotes, I will say first. So this particular statement will find the element, and then after that whenever you want to take some action you can say dot, and for example I want to type something, so I will use sendKeys action and I can type anything here. The same thing, this statement you can see here that we created in our last session. Now if you go to another very useful link, that is Protractor API, here on this link you will find all these functions available in Protractor. I will also copy all these links in the notes so that it is available to you for reference. So I will add a section for references here. And all these notes will be available in the description or the notes section of this video, and this is the link for Protractor API page. Now here, this is a very useful web page, and throughout your work with Protractor, this will be very useful. So here you can just search. For example, I say ng-model. You can see it searches element locator model. If I click here, you can see how exactly you can use it. So this is how the DOM will look like, and in your code this is how you can use it and all these things. Similarly, if I say sendKeys, you will find this sendKeys, and this is how you can use sendKeys action. So this is going to be very useful. Now also, if you search for a web page called Protractor using locators, this is again an official web page of Protractor where you will see all these information about locators. So I have already told you about element and element.all functions, and using these methods you can find the element and then you can do actions like click, get text, send keys on them. And these are the most used locators: by CSS, and then by ID, by name, by model, and by binding. And you can see how this can be used. So this is again going to be very useful. And if you are using by CSS, so this statement by.css and whatever is the value is equivalent to this statement where you can say dollar and then put the value of CSS in the brackets inside quotes. So if you are using a CSS selector, you can directly use this shortcut. I will also copy this and put in the references. Now here there are some tools available that you can use that will be helpful. So for example, let me just show you here. If I go to Chrome and go to Web Store, and here I will just search for POM Builder, and here is the extension POM Builder, and it auto generates the CSS and XPath locators. You can add it to your Chrome. In my case, I have already added it. You can see it is here, POM Builder. Now here what you can do is when you go to any of your applications, like I am here on the supercomputer application, when I do a right click, I also get this option POM Builder Quick Copy, and I can copy the suggested locator or a CSS selector or an XPath. So I will just go by the suggested locator. I will click here and it has copied the locator. I can just paste it on any text editor, and you can see it is giving me this locator as the selected option, which is ng-model first, which should be the best locator in this case. Similarly, if I go to this second one, I will right click and say suggested locator, and if I paste it here, it gives me ng-model second. Now these tool or any tool you use can be helpful while you are doing your automation, but do not rely completely on this tool. You should also use your knowledge. For example, when you are dealing with Angular applications and you inspect any element and you find some protractor properties are available or protractor locators are available, for example here we have ng model, so please use them. Do not go for XPath like we used to do for general web applications with Selenium. We should always use these protractor locators if they are available. Another very useful tool can be, again I will go to the web store, and there is an extension called Protractor Recorder, and here it is. Now this is an old extension and I believe it is not very well maintained, so you can just check if it is useful. You can add it to Chrome, and I have already added it. And how to use it, again when you go to your Angular application, you can go to the any of the object or element and do a right click and go to inspect, and here in the developer view you will get this option, this tab Protractor, click here, and you can see here record Protractor test by interacting with the page via mouse or touch. So I will start recording. I will give 2 here. I will select multiply and say 3 here and say go. And you can see all this is getting recorded. I will say copy to clipboard, and here I will just copy and paste everything. Now here you can see it has recorded all these things which can be useful. So you can see you will have to separate the lines, and you can see it has given us all these statements: element by CSS, input model first, send keys to, and then here all these things. So this again can be helpful, but as I said, do not depend completely on these tools or these extensions. You can just take their help, and then you have to see what is best for your application. Similarly, if I go again to web store, uh, you can also use Selenium IDE to record and then export. So if I say Selenium IDE, this is again extension on Chrome browser. It is also available on Firefox, I believe, but Chrome it is here. So you can use it, and once you add it, you will see here we have this extension. I will just click here and say record a new test in a new project. I will say this is my Protractor tests 1. Okay, and the base URL is our application. So let me just copy the application URL, and I will provide it here and say start recording, and it will bring the application. I will do all the actions, and you can see everything is getting recorded. And once you have recorded, you can click on this stop record, this stop button. So I will stop it. I can give any name. This is, let us say, test 1, and say OK. And now you can see all the commands, and if you go to any of the command, you can see the command here that this is type command, and then the target, this is the object locator, and in case it has a value, you can also see this value here, and then you can run this using this run button. So if I run this, let us see the playback. So this is running fine, and you can also see the logs. Again, as I said, you can use all this for help during automation, but do not depend completely on these tools. So this is one tool that you can use. And also, one of the important useful links can be if you search for Protractor cheat sheet, and you will get some options here. Go to any of these cheat sheets which will have all the options at one place. So let me go here, and you can see here this is a Protractor API cheat sheet. Here it gives us all the control for browser. So with browser, you can say browser.get, browser.navigate, browser.sleep, wait for Angular, all these browser functions. And then to check visibility of an element, we have is present, is enabled, is displayed. Then these are the element locators. Find an element by ID, model, binding, etc. We have ID, CSS, model, binding, text area, input, button text, partial button text, link text, all these things by CSS. So we have all this. Then we also have these extra element locators by CSS, repeaters, XPath, and all these things. We also have these Jasmine matchers. So I will also copy this link and make it available in the references here. So I'll put it here. Now here you will see some other locators like repeaters and other things. So as we go through the tutorials, we will learn more deeper into object locators. So this session was to get you started in a very basic way with object locators and identifiers in Protractor. Do not worry if you have not got everything on locators. We have just started, and as you work with more Angular applications, you have all the links with you. You can see what works best for different types of locators, and as you do more hands-on, you will learn more about locators and locator strategies in Protractor. So this was a basic, and we will go more deeper in the coming sessions. I hope this was very useful for you. Thank you so much for watching.